All right, guys, listen. The only thing that matters if you subscribe right now or comment or whatever you're doing right now, go to the page. What's the name? Oh, go to the page right now. What's the name? I was talking to my friend right there, the sexy Chauncey the Bear. You know what time it is. There's two of us, and there's two of them, right? Those wrestling girls, there's two of them. Make sure to subscribe, like, watch, enjoy.
Queen P.R, Krista B, those wrestling girls, TWG, Black Excellence, making it effortless. Podcast bringing up women in wrestling. Let's go.
Hey y'all, what's up? We're back. It's those wrestling girls. It's your girl Krista B
and Queen P.R.
And today we always say we have a fun, dope episode, but today is a special episode because not only will we be talking about the Divas era and how impactful it was, it's also Black History Month. It's day 2 of Black History Month, and as you can see, Queen P.R. and myself are wearing, well, you probably really can't see my shirt, but I'm not wearing a wrestling shirt today. However, I am wearing a Black-owned business. So shout out to my Black Pride apparel. I got this shirt, and it definitely just says Black girl.
Love that.
Black girl definition, the purest form of art, which is true. And
yeah.
Who are you wearing today?
I'm rocking my Naomi shirt. This is one of my favorite shirts, my favorite wrestling shirts in general, and I think this is one of Naomi's best shirts. Super cute.
That was like right at the peak of her glow era. So
definitely
a good one to wear. So I don't know if you guys have followed our TikTok. I posted yesterday that we will be rocking, if we're not rocking Black-owned wrestling apparel, we're definitely rocking Black-owned apparel. I did one yesterday. Shout out to Black Wrestling for my favorite sweatshirt for Bianca and Sasha Banks right when they headlined WrestleMania. I was able to wear it the day Bianca won at WrestleMania, making history. So I was able to do that. So shout out to them. So you're gonna see a lot of bouncing back and forth between myself and PR. We might do one together. We're not sure, but yes. Also want to shout out Lovely. She does dope ass bracelets, and Dakota Kai actually wore her bracelets yesterday during NXT. So if you saw it, if you saw those beautiful bracelets on Dakota Kai's wrist, those are from Lovely. Your bracelets.
Go to her Twitter at Lola Blue, and I think I'll put it in the banner. But make sure you DM her. This is those wrestling girls one that she actually made for Krista. I can't wait to give it to her.
That is so cute.
Right? Isn't it pretty? I can't wait to give it to you. So please follow her on Twitter, right? And buy some dope jewelry from a really dope person and a Black woman that's killing it out here.
Definitely. So, we're gonna jump right into it. We already made our intro, so don't go into questions. So why she's not wearing a wrestling shirt? Why they only wearing Black on wrestling? Y'all know why. It's just what it is. What it is. And next month is Women's History Month, so be prepared for that.
This is our go season. Right, exactly. Black History Month and into Women's History Month. And we're going to do another panel for the Women's Empowerment Day. So stay tuned for that. And if there's any women in wrestling that we haven't interviewed yet or should be on the panel, please DM us and let us know. Leave it in the comments because we definitely want to meet more women in wrestling. But I want to talk a little bit about Black women in wrestling really quickly, Krista, because we are obviously Black women and we have always tried to use our platform to empower Black women, Black wrestlers, Black referees, Black fans, because it's not easy out here for us.
Yeah, it's not easy out here. I was just looking at my memories on Instagram, and today makes a year that I wrote about Bianca making history at the Royal Rumble.
Oh my God, time goes by so fast.
So you guys, I reposted it in my IG story. Make sure you go over there. Make sure you click that link. Make sure you go and support that story. Bianca made history being being the first ever Black woman to win the Royal Rumble. So I was so very, very proud of that story. I think I actually got a quote from her in the for the story. It was just so dope to see, and Black women in wrestling have come a long way. Like, I guess we can consider ourselves Black women in wrestling because of the fact that we are in this podcasting world. We bring so much to the table now, although we don't realize it, or we probably don't feel it. People come up to us like, yo, you're bringing so much to the table. You're doing a lot. You know, you're the only 2 Black women out here that's killing it, that have a podcast. And we're just trying to grow and expand. So we just want to say thank you all for, you know, following us, supporting us, engaging us, calling us out on our bullshit. Everything that you do.
Yes, we appreciate it.
We definitely appreciate it.
We
but
appreciate it.
It has come a long way. And I'm happy to see that we are starting to create a platform. We're starting to take up our space in this world. Pun on my event, take up your spaces, Virtual Payment.
Yes.
Tickets will be on sale soon, so make sure you copy those tickets as well.
Yeah, that's so exciting.
Thank you. But yeah, we are taking up our space in this world of wrestling, which is definitely heavily male dominated, heavily, I don't want to say whitewashed, but it's more of them than it is us.
Yeah.
So for us to have people like Jacqueline, Jazz, Naomi, Bianca, Red Velvet, Big Swole, Tasha Steele, you know, Karen Bam Bam. The list goes on and on and on. The fact that there's more of us, and even in the podcasting, where we have Janelle from HR, we have Jenna from Mixed Tag.
Yeah.
We have.
And shout out to Janelle too for making history.
Yes,
being a part owner of a wrestling promotion.
Exactly. So it's a good time to be Black. It's a good time to be us.
And we like Bianca, and she's #1 women's wrestler in the world right now, according to PWI. Shout out to them. You know, Sasha, Bobby Lashley's champion right now. Big E had a nice little run. So it is, you know, AEW got some work to do, but on the indie scene, the melanin is
popping. Like,
it is popping, and it's very exciting to see. And I forgot who it was, and I'll definitely make sure I put it in the comments, who made a Black 500 and ranked 500 Black wrestlers. And I just thought it was so cool that he was able to compile 500 Black wrestlers, because I'm pretty sure no one thought it was that many.
Right.
So shout out.
I forget how many of us there are in wrestling, and you know, in this field. Like I said, like it's not easy to sit here and be like, what? You got a wrestling podcast? You watch wrestling? Isn't it fake? Isn't it this? Isn't it that? But at the same time, you see, like, I look at Bianca's post and how all these little girls who have the representation are literally aspiring to be like her, aspiring to be like Naomi, aspiring to be like Sasha Banks. You know, it's not one-sided anymore. It's more of us. So I just love seeing that. I love seeing the representation. I love the fact that, you know, we're growing and we possibly will be taking over wrestling. So, you know, just stay tuned for that.
Pretty much. That's pretty much what's gonna happen. And we all support each other, which I love. Like, we all give each other space. And just before we wrap up about just being Black and taking up space, shout out to Krista B's event. I love that every, you know, in Dallas for WrestleMania season, there's a For the Culture event. Going to Jobber Slam in last summer, presented by Jobber Tears and Battle Club Pro. That card was 95% Black, and it was packed in there. So just seeing like our peers just excelling and doing these different things, and, you know, seeing Lovely's jewelry on NXT, like those type of things are amazing. And the fact that we're able to like all celebrate each other without even thinking twice, I really love. And we're going to keep advocating for Black women in wrestling. And we're going to hope that, you know, it's more than just February where, you know, Black women get a chance, and someone like Naomi doesn't get put into storylines like Cotton Phil pseudo racist, and that it's just, they're just the best because they're the best.
Yeah.
Because we're going to excel no matter what. And TWG is taking over.
Hi everyone, it's me, Queen P.R, one half of those wrestling girls, and I'm here to remind you that I'm a proud brand ambassador for Birdie B, the clothing and lifestyle brand founded by WWE Hall of Famers Nikki and Brie Bella. And what I love most about the brand is that it's gender inclusive, it's body image positive, and there are a lot of unique pieces with new drops every Thursday. And I personally like to dress these pieces up and down for the gym, for brunch with the girls, for a day night out. There really is something for everyone. So make sure you post your outfits with Birdie B using the hashtag YourBirdieB and follow Birdie B on all platforms. There's always a sale going on, new drops every Thursday, and I hope to see your unique looks.
I'm excited for this episode because we've been wanting to talk about this topic for a while. And it's a very interesting time in WWE for sure.
Super interesting. One, I feel like we've been long overdue for this episode, so definitely let's just get right into it with Royal Rumble. So, shout out to Peter Rosenberg.
Hi, Rosenberg.
I actually spoke to him today when I saw him today. He was like, "So what did you think of the Rumble?" And I was like, I love the fact, and everybody's probably going to hate me on this, and I don't give a fuck, but I love the fact that Ronda Rousey was able to come back. One, Ronda has never fought in Royal Rumble. The first time she came back at the end, made a whole surprise appearance, whatever. She fought every single pay-per-view therefore after. So I was happy to see her participate in Royal Rumble. But it was also maddening because we knew that what the outcome was going to be. And he said to himself, he goes, yeah, it disappointed me. As soon as her music came, I already knew,
she was about to lose.
Right. And I said, although she came back, and I'm happy that she came back, it would have been even more dope if somebody eliminated her and started a feud. Just like ran through the entire division.
Yeah.
That would have been something more to see, like something you want to tune in for. Like, oh
that
shit,
sounds
about to come
really
and lose
good.
her shit because now she's beatable. Like we know she's beatable because Becky beat her at WrestleMania 35, but to go over the rope at Royal Rumble, now she has something to really, really fight.
And then it would have been something that the crowd and we all would have been excited about because, like you said, it was not predictable. Once her music hit, she got rid of everybody. It was her and Charlotte, and then that was it. But if that would have happened, like at least we would have been like, oh, then we would have been hyped the next day.
Now she's about to like go over. She's about to be like super mad.
We probably would even root for Ronda a little bit because we're gonna be like, yo, no, who this girl thinks she is, eliminating the baddest woman on the planet.
And I feel like it should have been a Bianca. I feel like they did that so wrong. Like Bianca, Liv, they all should have jumped or tag teamed and threw Ronda over. I think Liv was still in the match Liv was not in the match when Ronda came out. But Bianca is the strongest, the fastest, the roughest, over the baddest woman in the world. Like that is a match you would want to see. You would want to see like that.
But we never saw them face each other because she wasn't on the main roster when Ronda was there. So this would have actually been exciting.
If they would have had that face off, and that would have been. Then we know that they both want to be champion again.
Right. And Bianca they both got beef with Becky.
Bianca has some unfinished business with Becky. Ronda has some unfinished business with Becky.
Yep.
That would have been.
I don't understand how WWE hasn't hired you yet.
I don't understand either.
Like you really be coming through with the storyline.
Like I don't understand either, and I feel like because Triple H is not there right now, he's recovering.
Mm-hmm.
And I just read that TJ isn't there right now either for whatever reason.
Yeah. And I wonder why, because he's really good at these type of things, especially with the women.
Right. So between it should have been something better, something for us to look
more
forward to.
Excited. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And especially because I was way, 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 way excited about the Royal Rumble because of all the legends that were in it. And it's kind of like bittersweet because it's like, oh, they have all the legends in there because they fire all. There are no girls, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of depressing.
I mean, that's true.
But also, like, yay, the Bella twins. So let's get into the legends. a lot of them from the Divas era made
It was like the year of divas and moms.
Right. Yeah, you're so right. Oh my God. Somebody was like, I don't remember who tweeted it.
I think it was McCool.
Oh, okay. He was like, oh, it's the Divas. It was the Divas Royal Rumble, like for the Divas fans, which, for us, I was like, oh, that's all I need to hear. Some of the legends that were in the Divas era was Michelle McCool. She always kind of comes to everything. I was hype about the Bella twins because I really didn't think we would ever see them. Even, besides being Bella Army, like the fact that we actually saw them was dope.
Especially because Nikki was actually cleared this time to get back in the ring.
That's awesome.
Did
you like the bob?
Huh?
Did you like the bob?
I did, because Nikki never cuts her hair. Like she's always
she always got the long hair.
So yes, her bob was dope. So we had Bella twins, we had Summer Rae, we had Michelle McCool, Kelly, we had Naomi, Natty, Cameron.
Cameron!
Yo, I need Cameron to come back and literally like.
If she's not back on Friday, I'm gonna be tight.
Right, like. She has to come back. Like she's been hinting at on Twitter, like she got some unfinished business. Funkadactyls is back. Like that's another place they slipped on. Like,
oh my God,
they dropped the ball on it.
The fact that you ain't have them jump Sonya or even have Cameron and Naomi interact, they could have danced. They could have did a dance break. Like
they could have did something, and then they could have really brought if that was the case for them jumping, they really could have brought back up Mandy Rose. We didn't have any NXT call-ups. They could have brought back Mandy Rose for that one night to be with Sonya. So Fire and Desire versus the Funkadactyls, a standoff in Royal Rumble.
Yeah, that would have been amazing.
Like, bruh, what? WWE? I'm gonna talk to Rosenberg. Because at this point,
yeah, they need you in that writing room. They need you in that writing room. I
could use an extra freelance check. Like, I got rent to pay. I got a new car to get.
I would hit the Undertaker gong, like, toast to that.
Listen, I got my water right here.
Shout out to all of the freelancers out there doing things, including my sister.
Listen, it's 2/22/22. Well, by the time this comes out, might be 2/3. Would y'all get it? Whatever. This will be out between today and tomorrow, so it's still the same energy. We just gonna be manifesting. We're gonna manifest that WWE or somebody from WWE sees this and hears my ideas and does not steal them, but reach out to us or reach out to me and say, "Hey,
yeah, they need a black woman back there. They need a black woman back there.
Hello,
definitely. Like,
what girl? Hello." I'm tired.
It's me, Queen P.R, one half of those wrestling girls, and our friends over at Ripple Junction want us to remind you that all of our favorite designs, including this Roy's War shirt, have gotten relaunched in new designs and a variety of new colors. And you can get a t-shirt for all your favorite fandoms, whether it's The Office, your favorite movies, your favorite brands. There's everything over at Ripple Junction. And don't forget to use the code THOSEWrestlingGirls to save 15% off. So what are you waiting for? Go on Ripple Junction, use those code THOSEWrestlingGirls, and post your shirts on social media and tag Ripple Junction.
So I'm excited now to go into the Divas era. So we did an Attitude Era series where we did a Real Talk episode. We kind of got down in it, and then we did like spotlights. And we did our AJ Lee episode, which did really well. If you haven't checked it out, please go check that out. And she was definitely in the Divas era, even if she maybe should have been in the Women's Evolution. But let's break down the Divas era, Krista B. So I was looking, it's a very polarizing topic, first of all, but I was looking, researching things for the episode and watching like old pay-per-views recently. And they were referring to any woman in WWE as a diva going back to 1998. And I'd never even realized that because the history is like the Divas era, Attitude era. So I was like, oh, that's so interesting. And then I remember there was like the Divas magazine. It was like a whole thing.
I remember I wanted a Divas magazine. I wanted a Divas magazine when Trish and Lita and them started to be on it. Like before they made it a Divas magazine, and it was still like the cover of like I wanted to subscribe to WWF magazine. Like that's how bad. My mom was like, no. Cause she already has subscribed. My aunt has subscribed for my sister to have like the East. Remember the East Bay sneakers and shit magazine?
Oh yeah! Wow, you just brought it back.
My sister had a subscription to that, and then I had a subscription to some other type. It was like some kids field type magazine, like a lot of, I don't know. We had a lot of privileges growing up, y'all. Like the kids today, like, we had, but. Yeah, I wanted to, do that and have that magazine.
I wanted it too.
Just because I'm just like, yo, like I've never thought about being a wrestler, but I always thought like I would want to be on a cover of a WWE magazine.
And you would look amazing too.
Well, girl, don't gas me, But
I'll do it. So I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think? Because it's so many questions that I've just like never asked you. Why do you think the Divas era gets so much hate? Like, why do you think so? And like, what did you think overall? Like when you look back?
It's a bad connotation with the word diva. When you think of diva, and I feel like diva came about because around that time in R&B music, and it was always Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, Brandy, Monica, they was always trying to pit women against each other. Mary J. Blige, Chaka Khan, like it was always, she's a diva. And then, although people they would be like, we don't have beef, we don't understand. It was always labeled as that because they was looked at as catty. It was looked at as always wanted to be at each other's throats. They was looked at as, not being friendly towards each other. And then also around that time, VH1 began to capitalize off the R&B diva. So being that the word diva is being heavily used now, use it in the world of wrestling. We going instead of y'all being wrestlers or women wrestlers, y'all gonna be divas. Now go out there and act like a diva. Go out there and pull her hair,
look pretty, and bikini. I totally agree with you.
So that's where it comes from, and it's just like. Once you hear diva, like, oh my God, like we're not divas, we're women. We're women who have attitudes, who have emotions, who are supposed to express themselves the way as men express themselves. There's men who will have tantrums, throw stuff through walls, punch walls and stuff, and will not get penalized, will not get reprimanded.
Because men can't do the same shit that women do.
But if
women can't do the same shit that men do.
If a woman did it, like take Serena Williams for instance, when she had got I forgot that whatever happened to her on the tennis court. I think she just like hit her rack on the floor because she was frustrated, and the ref just like called her out.
And the media villainized her.
Right, a guy did the same exact thing, but he went worse, broke his rack. Stomped on it, kicked, had a tantrum like a child, and was asked if he was O-fucking-K. Or he's having a bad day. He's having a bad game day.
That's so true. I also feel like it had a bad connotation because they weren't wrestling, which I always say like wasn't always their fault. Like you said, they wanted to capitalize on a diva word. Beyonce had came out with a song that I don't think it's a coincidence that the Divas Championship came out around the same time that Beyonce's song was out.
I'm singing the song in my head because that's a good song.
Oh, because that's one of my top 5 Beyonce songs. So they definitely like capitalized. But I feel like right, exactly. And the hardcore fans don't appreciate it. It's funny because these hardcore fans can sexualize the divas, make creepy little gifs of the divas doing sexual things, but not going to respect them as a performer in WWE. And they weren't wrestling because they were told that they weren't wrestling. They were told that to have a cat fight to pull hair. We've heard numerous accounts of women fighting the management backstage to do more. So I think because once that kind of narrative goes around that from the hardcore fans that they're basically just hired to be pretty, I think that's when people look back on it. And then it's a lot of WWE's fault. 2-minute matches, the weird gimmick matches of like them fighting in like swimming pools and paddle on a pole matches and shit like that. Like, it's ridiculous.
I'm disgusted.
You know? But I do think the Divas Era was super fun. Looking
It
back
was a
on it.
super fun time. Like, you got to see, although it came with a lot of like over sexualizations and overly overt and obscene things, like you did get to see a side of these women that you probably would have never thought. Like, you got to see a funnier side. Like, I feel like one of my favorite things was, even though I really wasn't watching at the time, I watched the clips, was of McCool, Michelle McCool and Layla, and they will wrestle with headset, like mics on, headsets on. So when the Bella twins beat them, they was like, wait a minute, what are you, like, you heard everything that they were saying, and it just made it real cool. Like, it was just like, if you're gonna sit here and make fun of us in a sense, I'm gonna sit here and talk, because we know the wrestlers talk to each other half the time, and they've been slipping up lately, because I did definitely seen Becky tell Dewdrop, all right, I'm about to hit this, and then I'm about to pin you. Like, she did that in that match on Monday. I mean, that Rumble.
Wow.
Yes, they speak, and you see them speaking, so they gotta
get better. Yeah, they gotta do better with that. The fact that you even peeped that is crazy.
Yeah, girl, I've been watching everything. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds. Yeah, you really.
But no,
really
Divas Era was definitely fun.
It was. I think it gets a bad rap. I think it had. I guess it depends on what you look for, and I think you just have to understand, like, WWE is a sports entertainment company. It's not a hardcore wrestling company. So the fact that you're mad that they're hiring beautiful models, like, I mean, yeah, of course we want them to wrestle. We love that they're not looked at as eye candy, but it was a fun time, and I think it takes a lot to do what the Divas were doing. So I think that should get more respect for sure.
Definitely.
I think so. I couldn't be a diva. I couldn't be in a bra and panties match. But kudos to y'all.
Right.
So I was looking up facts about the Divas Championship, and it just brought up some things that we can talk about, and that I like almost forgot. So Michelle McCool's the first Divas champion, and she defeated your favorite person in the world, Natalya Neidhart. To become. So it's funny that Natalya, even back in 2008, and I'm sure it's almost crazy to think like Natalya was definitely in the Divas era, and she's still around, that she wasn't the one even at this point in time.
It's not crazy to think that. I really need for you to be realistic here. Like, I know that you support all the women and stuff, and I get that. I support women too, and I always want for them to strive better and do better and become bigger and stuff like that. But I feel as if you as a wrestler entertainer, yeah, you're breaking all these world records and you're doing amazing. Like, you done broke 5 already. Guinness World Book of Records 5 times. That's amazing. Keep going. But you do nothing in a sense of I feel like I don't feel like she hit that point in her life, like in this career, where she's tired of the same old mediocrity. Like, she's tired of being mediocre. She's tired of this, that, and third. Like, even her entrance walking down to the ring of Royal Rumble, what was that? Like, you switching really hard, like you causing so much friction, you gonna start fire within your leather suit. Like, what are you doing?
If I was rooting for anyone back in 2008, I would have picked Michelle McCool to be the champion.
Like,
so I'm like totally here for that. But I think because even Michelle McCool's somebody that after the fact, like recently I learned like how athletic she was and how she was even like, I want to do more than this, I want to do more than this, and how she was like, I'm going to be the best wrestler ever. And now she's the first Divas champion. And I think another interesting thing about this time is that there's 2 women championships. There's one on Raw and there's one on SmackDown. And I'm like, yo, how cool would it be if we had that now?
I mean, kind of do have it now.
We don't have 2 women championships.
What you mean 2? I mean, we got a brand split. Back then,
yeah, we have
brand split.
Yeah, but there was like a secondary championship.
So you mean for SmackDown and Raw to have two?
Yeah, like an intercontinental version for women.
First of all, they got to be enough women to do that. For one,
the shade.
For one, there have to be enough active women to do that. For one,
yeah,
there have to be women utilized better. For two, to actually do something like that. But I feel like as soon as that was supposed to happen, and a woman become hot and doing it, and they going up, and up, they're gonna have the rug sweep right from under their foot.
Just like the tag team championships, they're doing absolutely nothing with those.
I was about to say.
I was just gonna say I had to think like who is even champion right now, and I want to say Zelina. Okay, I'm like I want to say that, but I couldn't be wrong.
Carmella and Zelina who are doing nothing with them, as you said.
Exactly. But I do want to shout out, definitely because it's Black History Month, Alicia Fox, who came back at Royal Rumble, who was the first and only African American. She really did. Oh my god. And I think she should have been champion longer. I think she's severely underrated. And our Alicia Fox spotlight is, quick plug, is our most viewed episode. It's our first episode to reach over 1,000 views. So please check out our Alicia Fox episode because clearly it's a banger. And she deserves her flowers.
She does.
She really does. It was good to see her the other night.
So
it really was.
I'm disappointed with the way Melina came in and went out.
Yeah.
It was great to see Sasha and Melina square up and square off. But it was too short. I don't know if that was like a misstep. I don't know, like, if it was meant to happen that way, because the shit with Kofi Kingston was a misstep. Like, so
that hurt my heart.
That hurt too. Like, they could have much stuff they let botch and fall. They couldn't let that rock.
Right. And then they did the replay. I was like, y'all did not have to play the replay.
Yeah, y'all didn't have to play.
I could have just like did the WWE thing and just act like nothing happened.
I didn't want to be
and told us something else happened. You know what else I want to shout out? Because she is along with Royal Rumble and this episode in Black History Month is Karma, aka Awesome Kong. Because she was definitely in the Divas era. She was never champion, but I don't remember who I was talking to about this, but Brian Waters, shout out to him from Wrestling Realm. Her promos of like her breaking Barbie dolls, I think was so like what we needed at the time because everyone hated the Divas era for that. And Karma was like an anti-diva. She was aggressive, she was violent, she was imposing. She was gonna beat those divas up.
And she did. She did.
Yeah.
There's no way that she did not do that.
Right.
I think they all had like I felt like I've seen like it was like a handicap match, like the Bella twins were involved and all of that, and she beat their ass. Like, who's gonna take her?
Right. Right. Yeah, shout out to Karma. I wish she did more. So speaking of two championships, they did end up unifying the WWE Women's Championship and Divas Championship in 2010, and Michelle McCool won that as well. But 2011 was a very interesting year in the Divas era when I was like reading up on things. So a lot of people ended up leaving WWE, like Maurice, Michelle McCool, Gail Kim, and Gail Kim is still vocal about what she doesn't like about WWE.
This was going off on Twitter on Royal Rumble.
I can imagine.
Yo, she was going in, ripping them to shreds, especially about Melina. Yeah, she was ripping their asses to shreds, not giving up.
Because that Melina elimination was so unnecessary.
It was so horrible. Like, that's not something I would even want to go back and watch.
Yeah.
I go back and watch Seth and Roman, because that match was dope. Fucking dope. I will go back and watch when Bad Bunny came out because I literally fangirl cried. Like,
God.
and Rosenberg, I told Rosenberg that this morning. He was like, "Wait a minute, that's weird." I said, "Yo,
No, I can totally relate. Me and Letty call him our little baby. He's like,
right."
oh my God, our
I was
baby's
like, and
back.
I feel like it's because he's the only celebrity who's entered Royal Rumble and Mania and took it
Was
serious.
a really good
Right,
wrestler.
like he
Like
trained
a
for it.
really good wrestler.
He did everything that he needed to do to be a part of it and not just be there because of the name.
Right.
You understand? So I feel like that is the reason why. Like, when I told y'all he really became
I
one of
was
my
so
favorite wrestlers of
impressed.
all
Oh my
time,
God. Watching him at wrestling, I was
we
like,
were speechless. We was like,
we was like, no, that buddy ain't out here wrestling.
and like to know the backstory about it, and it was just like, so yes, I'll literally fast forward, and then of course I love when Shane McMahon's music hits. Like,
Yeah,
who doesn't love Here
that
Comes
gets
the
a
Money?
pop every time, no matter
Right.
what.
I feel like if I had to really rate Rumble, it would definitely have to be like a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, I think
And
it was.
I think it's kind of being nice.
I think what sucks too more about it is that there was so much hype around it because they were bringing all these women back that people love that don't get enough shine. So it could have been it could have been a 10 out of 10, but because they chose to go another way, it's a 5 out of 10. But
I feel like them announcing all of these women killed it down.
That probably, it was like a high, then Ronda
like
came,
y'all
and it was
announced
like a low.
Y'all announced almost 20, 25 women. Only have 5 slots available.
That was ridiculous.
Like, keep it secret. Like, I would have been even more hype if I knew that Summer Rae was not coming back.
Right. And then all of a sudden her music hit. That would have been. Or even the Bellas.
Right. We didn't know about Cameron.
Or Melina. There were some good surprises. I will give them that. But we knew everyone that was going to come anyway, and we knew that they weren't going to win. So it's kind of like, all right, well, But I want to talk about the Divas of Doom really quickly, because after Gail Kim, Michelle McCool, Maurice, and ultimately the Bella Twins left, WWE.com actually posted a blog about the evolution of the Divas era and how it was gonna, Natty and Beth Phoenix were gonna basically bring it to a whole new level, which I thought was interesting. And they also questioned like what it meant to be a true diva in WWE. And then I was like, that's such a good question. Like, I would love to see, like, at that time, let's say like 2011, 2012, what is a true WWE diva?
Nobody knows.
Basically, you have to be attractive.
Yes.
You have to.
Oh, but what else? Because at that time, I feel like it was around that time before the Divas of Doom. Natty hair was like a reddish orange color, and then she dyed her hair blonde, and then Beth Phoenix came into fold. And Beth Phoenix should have never in life ever been considered a fucking diva, because it takes away from the athleticism. It takes away from the strength. Like all these other divas, Natty should never been considered a diva either. That's another thing. Like, stand your ground, sis. Like, I'm not saying that you're not, but it kind of shows, like.
And it's crazy too, because I think about, like, I always think of Sasha Banks as like the modern women's wrestler, like someone that's being taken seriously for their wrestling. And I couldn't imagine her being called a diva. I couldn't imagine her with that butterfly toy looking belt. And that's no disrespect to the belt, but the level of wrestling ability that the women have now, it's like I can't even imagine that being the term that they're used. Like, I remember watching Total Divas and that episode where they get told that they're not going to be referred to as divas anymore, that they're going to be referred to as superstars, just like the men. And like, I almost like was like, oh my God, like that's such a huge step forward.
But it's crazy how you get so conditioned to a term that when something that you already are is retold to you, it's a big shock. It's a big, like, I'll probably say, I'm saying this now because I was not there for it, but I feel like I'm never gonna sit here and say, oh yeah, I always know I'm a superstar. So you telling me and now I'm about to be referred as a superstar is nothing new to me. But back then, if I was in it, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, were considered superstars. Now they're equal to men. And it's crazy how like I feel like they condition you to a place where you don't see your potential.
Right.
And then once they want to give you that, then you'd be like, oh yes, now it's more. Because when Nikki Bella saw the new championship on that episode of Total Divas at WrestleMania, her first reaction was like, whoa, that's gonna be my title. Like I'm no longer, once I get that, I'm no longer a diva. I'm definitely a superstar.
Right.
Bruh, your forearm is lethal.
You've
been a superstar.
She's definitely been a superstar.
Who don't know you, to the people who don't know you on the outside, you're a superstar to them. You're a celebrity to them. They're not gonna walk up to you off rip and be like, oh my God, you're a diva. I don't like you. Oh my God, you have the haters who do that, but they don't look at you as such. Yeah, that's your title, but at the end of the day, you're a superstar.
Right.
Put your mind in that frame. Like, you're a superstar. Right. You're telling me something I don't know, but I'm going to prove to you why I should have been a superstar.
Right. And then just thinking about Total Divas, because I was definitely a part of the Diva era, and I think it premiered in 2013, and I always think 2013 is really when the women's evolution started, because it was huge that WWE had this reality show on E, and I love being able to see what it was like, even if it was kind of scripted. Like, duh, it's a reality show. Duh, wrestling is kind of scripted. Like, so seeing, the episode of Nikki reacting to the Real Championship, and then seeing, like, I made a comment about the butterfly belt, but Nikki worked her ass off as champion. And in Total Divas, we saw how much she traveled and how she became more of a brand ambassador for WWE. So she had no time off, and she was the longest reigning Divas champion. So just, putting that out there, like, yeah, okay, all right, Divas may not be hardcore wrestling, on the show for 15 minutes every week, but they're working almost just as hard as the men are. And they should have that same respect. And I want to also transition to AJ Lee, just talking about the women being treated as the same as the men. I don't want to say too much because we have an AJ Lee spotlight, but like, she was very focused on in the Divas era, and she was the champion, and she was at one point the longest reigning Divas champion. But she was always unhappy with how the women were portrayed, and fought harder along with Paige. And I think Paige is one of the first double women's champions, because when she became Divas champion, she was also NXT women's champion. That also happened in 2013. So I feel like so many different like seeds that year were kind of like being planted, because then that frustration started happening, because you always mentioned how women in all around sports during this time was killing it.
Right. True.
So it's one of those weird eras where it should get more respect, but on the outside, it doesn't seem like it should, because now they're reality stars, and now we really shouldn't respect, because they're on reality TV. But they don't understand how many people got into wrestling, how many women got into wrestling because of Total Divas.
True. It never fails. Like, always hear a conversation. Oh my God, the Bella twins. I don't watch wrestling, but I got into them because of Total Divas, and I know that one of them was dating John Cena, and the other one is dating Daniel Bryan. The other one is married to one of Rikishi twin sons. Like, so Total Divas was definitely an impactful. I feel like that was one of the best moves WWE had made.
I agree, especially for their female fan base, including myself, because it kind of got me back, sort of like, maybe I need to tune in. I was a fan of Naomi before I even watched her wrestle on WWE show, because I was like, oh my gosh, she's so pretty. She's Black. She's shaped like me, kind of. Like, she looks like me, like, and she's sweet, and she's funny and charming. And I would have never fell in love with Naomi as much as I did if it wasn't for Total Divas. For sure. So I want to talk about some of the Divas champions really quick. So the championship lasted from 2008 to 2016, and we kind of hit on it when Lita came at WrestleMania 32, I think, and presented this new women's championship. But before that, we had our Divas championship, and we already mentioned Michelle McCool. The second Divas champion was Maryse. And she's interesting because she's actually featured on WWE TV right now with her husband, The Miz.
Right. I've never really watched Maurice fight, so I really can't sit here and say. I feel like every time, like this, I feel like the most I've seen her fight was with Nikki and Brie again in mixed tags. Like I want to see her fight by herself. Like the mixed tag with that happened this past Rumble. It was okay. Like we all knew the outcome of that. That would have been an upset if it was the other way around.
That would have been an upset
because the only couple to lose to them is Brie and Brian. So that would have been an upset.
I think she was a good diva at the time. Like I think she brought something to it. She was different, and you know, I love me a boss ass bitch. So the fact that her and Miz were able to capitalize on that short amount of time she was a diva, and now they have multiple businesses. They have a reality show that's about to go into, I think, its 3rd season. So it was like really fun to see her back and, you know, do a little bit. I hope she comes back out. Another Divas champion I was in a Royal Rumble was Mickie James, and that was iconic and historic because she is the Impact Knockouts World Champion, and she came out with her championship.
Came out with her championship.
Oh my God, that was so
country
amazing.
Song, her theme song. Like they did not even play her Mickie James regular song. They played her hardcore country.
Hardcore country. It was amazing.
It was super fucking dope.
It was. So Mickie was a women's champion, also a Divas champion, but she didn't really last that long in the Divas era because she ended up leaving and going to Impact and doing her thing for like 10 years there. Shout out to her, living legend. And then Jillian Hall, she was champion too. When she is
that the one who was pretending to sing?
Okay. Yeah. Which was so like relevant at the time because that's when like American Idol was hot and just came out, so now she could sing. So she was champion, and she came out last year for the Royal Rumble, and she had like a little fun thing with her.
She did.
That was fun. She was backstage too, so she was probably like a little safety, like just in case they needed somebody else. Damn, they really don't got girls. That's crazy. Melina, she was there, had a split off with Sasha Banks at the Royal Rumble, but she was the 5th champion, and I'm glad that
call it a split off. It was more so of a mocking.
Yeah.
Not a split off. Because they were just probably doing flips and busting splits like there was in a Pasa video or something. If that was
yeah, it was cute. I love it.
Yeah, it was.
I loved it. I would love to see Eva Torres come into the Rumble one of these.
I doubt Eva Torres is coming back.
She didn't. It's funny because she's not very distinctive to me when I look back on like the diva. I think she was very much like stereotypical diva. But
she didn't have blonde hair.
Right. Exactly. But she had some fun storylines. She had some memorable moments at least. And then we mentioned Alicia Fox, first Black champion and only. It was good to see her. Brie Bella. I love the fact that because you know Brie always kind of plays like second to Nikki sometimes. So I love that she actually became champion first because she debuted first too. And I think she's a really good wrestler. I wish people like appreciated that about her more.
True. Me too.
Yeah. Kelly.
Hello.
Yeah, her music, it's hard not to pop when she comes out, but she comes around a lot. Shout out to Kelly. Beth Phoenix was also Divas champion. She was also women's champion before. And she's one of those people who, you know, was way ahead of her time as well. And she definitely was something fresh in the Divas division because it was like, all right, who's really about to like step to this glamazon right now?
Nobody.
Like nobody. Natalia, of course, was Divas champion. And then Nikki Bella, we already mentioned she made history as Divas champion, longest reigning. And I think she made me interested in the belt only because she had a potential to win or lose it. And that's when they kind of started to wrestle a little bit more. And like you said, her forearm is crazy. So it was nice to see her have a nice run with the with the championship. How do you feel about Layla and Lay Cool?
I really can't comment because I really wasn't watching at the time. Like from stuff that I've seen, I really can't comment. Like I guess it was good for that time, but I'm gonna keep it real. Like I wasn't watching at that time to say like, well, I don't like her, I don't like her, I like her, I love her. I can't sit here and comment on things that I don't know about.
Yeah. So I wasn't watching at the time, but I looked up some of like her old like matches and stuff like that, and it, typical Divas match. But I do think her work with Michelle McCool as like co-champions, fabulous
That
and
was
flawless,
funny.
like that was like super cute, and I wish that they talked about it more. And I wish that Layla would make an appearance one day. I would also like to have her on the show because people like Layla is like someone that doesn't really have the spotlight, but like imagine the stories that she can tell. Like imagine just the things that she's experienced just being a diva. And she was in WWE for a little bit. Like I remember watching Total Divas and her being like, backstage and stuff like that. So I really want Layla on the show. Since we're manifesting things, I wanna manifest that. And also Caitlyn too.
Caitlyn, see my girl Caitlyn. I'll never forget. I was shooting Jasmine for my final project in WWE. So we was at her house and watching Mania. We was like shooting her watching Mania. So nice. all you see her go, is that Caitlyn? Is Caitlyn in the audience? And she got really emotional because Caitlyn's like her favorite wrestler. Aww. And she really like kind of why she got in it. She went to her room. She showed us like all the Caitlyn posters and everything. Like everything she did was like because of Caitlyn. And I was just like, wow, like to see that and to see like I've seen some stuff of Caitlyn wrestling and things like that or whatever, and she's good. Like nothing bad.
She had a different look too.
Yeah, she definitely had a different look.
And she seemed like a little bit more physical than like a lot of the other wrestlers. And I think that's why I liked her fuse with AJ Lee. And AJ Lee speaks very highly of working with her too. Mm-hmm. And also Paige. And I think that's, for me, I always think this, and people can debate me of like when you guys think the women's evolution started, but I think Paige joining the company really turned the tide because she was coming from a wrestling family as well, like Natty, but it was like, oh no. It's time for something new. It's time for something fresh. And her winning the Divas Championship from AJ Lee after WrestleMania 30 is one of those moments that, it's in Paige's movie. Like it's gonna be one of those moments that no one expected, but it turned the tide almost,
Yeah,
for sure. What were some of your other
you forgot about one more.
I know. I want to save her because I know you love her so much. But I also want to mention some things that people wrote in on Twitter and Instagram. Shout out to all of our followers. We made 9,000 on Twitter. We love you guys. But everyone was excited that we were talking about the Divas Era. So Kimberly Angle said, I think Kelly was the most improved wrestler of the Divas. Not saying she excelled to an amazing level of technical wrestling, but out of the models, I think she truly tried to put time in and learn wrestling. I think that's often overlooked. And I agree with you, girl, because I think something should be said about female wrestlers that are divas or can't wrestle that get better every time you see them.
Right. Yeah, Kelly, I feel like every year she steps up, she shows up, and she shows out. And I forgot, was Pat McAfee on commentary when the Women's Royal Rumble was happening?
No, unfortunately, and we were so disappointed.
Yeah, right. So they said, who was it? Was it Jimmy or Corey? It was like Kelly music was like, yep, Kelly's back. She's been here. This would be her 5th Royal Rumble. She never won.
That's what we were like, okay, she's been in a few. We love seeing you though.
Right, like when I say that I was like cracking the hell up, like, bruh, don't call her out like that. We know she didn't win. We know she's not gonna win unless she's like signs a surprise contract that we don't know. Exactly. Don't do her like that.
Don't do her like that. All right, so I think we can end this episode. I'm gonna just say a couple more submissions.
Wait, you didn't mention the last person.
Oh, we are. I want to close off with that because she's everything now. That's not my opinion. That's just me summarizing how she's treated. But anyway, at Jake Tastico, Jackie Celeste on Twitter says, Divas Era. That's when I started watching wrestling. The Divas search would be an interesting topic. Maybe that's a future episode or a Patreon. Watching Ashley Massaro, rest in peace, and Layla L walk in and become divas was low-key inspirational. That's the other thing I think that gets downplayed about the Divas Era is that people were inspired by these women. And they have a fan base that's very passionate. Black Geeks of Dragon Con. Layla L was underrated in my book. Oh my God, we might have to do an after show with some people because everyone is so into this. And one last one at Young Black Man 96. All I gotta say is Nikki Bella, capital letters, GOAT diva. I might have to agree with him.
I agree. I definitely agree with that.
She definitely had it all of what I guess makes a true diva, but she could also wrestle, and she also got better at wrestling. And we got to see her too, and she was clear. Shout out to that. But I feel like there's so much that we can unpack about the Divas Era, and maybe there's a part 2 coming. Let us know if we should do a part 2 because I do think there's a lot more to unpack. But I think we were able to kind of get a little bit in there.
We
about
did.
The Divas Era, which was very significant in women's wrestling history.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah.
So before we close out, let's go to this dreaded place where I don't want to go to right this moment.
So I wanted to close out with the last Divas champion who became the inaugural WWE Women's Raw Women's Champion, whatever, is Charlotte Flair, because right now she's still the center of the division for the most part. So she became Divas champion.'s the one that dethroned Nikki Bella to be the longest reigning Divas champion.
Lord, I think that's something else, but I'm dethrone. We're gonna keep that off air.
Like what? Like dethrone?
Keep going, sis. Keep going.
Oh, like what?
I'm tired. Sorry. Just keep going.
She dethroned the longest reigning Divas champion, Hall of Famer Nikki Bella, and then she ended up beating Sasha and Becky at WrestleMania 32 to become the inaugural, women's champion. That's now the Raw Women's Championship. So that was definitely a changing of the tide.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I can understand why, because it did kind of break that connection between divas and superstar wrestlers. Like, Charlotte came up from NXT. You understand? Like, they were in NXT doing some shit that the divas on Raw and SmackDown were not doing. Yeah. They started to, they were not doing or whatever. So I can agree with that.
Yeah. That
is probably the only thing I will agree with. All this other stuff, I don't give about none of that shit. Cause Charlotte needs to drop a belt. Charlotte, I don't know. Like, I'm not taking away what Charlotte's done. Mm-hmm. She is amazing. She's deserving of everything that she's gotten. She has put on some of my favorite matches ever. Sis,
it's time.
And words of Rafiki, it is time.
It is time. And I hate that we're talking about the Divas Era that started in 2008, 2007, whatever. And she became Divas champion in 2015, 2016. Now we're in 2022 and she's still the center of everything. And that's when it's just like, you just have to be over it. Like, it's like, okay, when are we going to do something new? At least in the Divas Era, at one point it was all about AJ, but there was a lot of flavoring in there, mm-hmm. And now it's like, the same people's going to win, all the time.
Now it's just salt.
Huh?
I said now it's just salt.
Ooh. Yeah. We need some more chocolate.
Like, we need some pepper. We need some smoked paprika. We need some parsley. We need all that. Like, who just salt?
Right. And can I just also say, just talking about Naomi, she should have had a Divas Championship reign. 100%. Like, it was very weird that she didn't.
That part.
And I think Cameron needs to come back. Shout out to her. Because then maybe they could be tag team champions or something. Like, I think they should bring back all the legends, just like they bring back Undertaker old ass and Goldberg old ass and Edge and shit. Bring back the females that we all love.
Undertaker old ass.
But why he's still wrestling though?
But he's not. He's not.
I'm saying. No, what I'm saying is they bring him back no matter what. No matter how old he gets, they bring him back.
I get it.
None of the women are
we have it now. Let's see how long it goes.
Yeah. Bring more back. Shit. Cameron needs to be on SmackDown with Naomi whooping Sonya's ass. If Edge can have a championship run, then why can't one of the old divas that deserve it? Nah.
Beth Phoenix is back. We gonna see. So now we have Beth Phoenix and Lita. Hopefully, I'm home.
Hopefully, Maurice does more stuff with Miz too, because that's fun.
But why should she have to do more stuff with Miz to have TV time? Why can't she do something on her own?
She should do something on her own. I just really enjoy Miz and Maurice together. I think they're hilarious. But yeah, I think she should do more. She should have a one-off with Beth Phoenix. They got championship history. Why they don't have a little spin-off feud?
Because we all know the outcome of that. But Maurice is gonna cheat a few times.
And I would love to see it.
And then there will be a free-for-all, win-for-all for Beth Phoenix at Mania or something. Like, we all know how it ends.
I'm here for it.
It's gonna be a short-lived thing. That's it.
I love it though. Like, just like Brie and Daniel Bryan and The Miz, and that went on for like little 2 months. I loved it. We could do the same thing with Maurice.
I would love to see without their husbands. Like, Brie still has unfinished business with Maurice too after that.
Right.
If they dropped the ball
Give them a little spin-off feud.
Nikki Bella got beat for Maurice.
It
would make no sense now because John Cena is no longer in the picture. But at the same time, they would have to figure it out.
That would be dope. And I think WWE underestimates how much the fans would love some of these things. Like, it sounds crazy, like Maurice and Beth, or Maurice and Brie Bella having like a couple pay-per-view matches. Like, we would love that. I would be tuned all the way in. Like, bring some more divas back and have them, do more. I really like this Divas Era episode. I hope we could do a part 2. Just from the feedback on social media, I definitely want to do like an after show with some of you, because this is one of those topics that is very polarizing, and I think we only like scratched the surface.
Yep, sure did. We didn't even peel paint yet. We just over here scratching.
Right. We like, here's the little bullet points, but it's a lot more.
Well, guys, this was a fun episode. We had fun doing this with you. Make sure that you guys follow us, subscribe, Patreon, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. P, do your TikTok tonight.
Okay.
It's your turn.
I got you.
As soon as we get off.
I got you.
Let me know if she don't do it, because then we're
my God.
Seriously, we're gonna keep going, keep pushing. It's a TWG takeover.
It really is. Spoiler. Oh, well, I kind of spoiled it, but we're definitely trying our best to be in Dallas. So if you're in Dallas, let's link up. Let's do what we gotta do.
And let's go to Six Flags. Duh.
Kind of have to.
And on that note, it's your girl Krista B
and Queen P.R.
Out.
Queen P.R, Krista B, those wrestling girls, TWG, Black excellence, making it effortless. Podcast bringing up women and wrestling. Let's go.